In today's episode, the 1985 Vauxhall Nova range for the UK. Hello and welcome to Course-Like, your car brochure channel. For those new to the channel, we're here on YouTube looking at car brochures like this one from around the world. We tend to look at brochures from 1960s to the year 2000, but we go beyond those years as well. So if you're interested in that sort of content, then watch a bit of it, consider subscribing. It is all completely free and will always be free. So yes, we're starting a new series today for Vauxhall Opel. This is 1985 full range brochure. It starts with the Nova, so that's going to be today's episode. So let's have a look at it now. So here is today's brochure, and I will zoom in a moment, of course. So this is the full Vauxhall Opel range for the UK for June to September 1985, featuring a picture, of course, of a Vauxhall Carlton in CD spec. Of course, near the end of the series, we will, of course, look at this 1985 Vauxhall Carlton. A little bit of a note on the end there says better by design, and there we can see the emblems for Vauxhall, GM and of course Opel. So the brochure starts logically, of course, with the smallest car in the Vauxhall Nova. The previous full range brochure for Vauxhall that we looked at, the starting range, or the car that was at the bottom of the range, was the Chevette. Chevette has now gone, so now we've got a small hatchback instead. This bit of a road scene is showing a Nova SR, and then in the background there are Nova GL. Nova, fast, frugal and fun. Now, of course, Vauxhall Nova was kind of like a badging exercise for the UK. This, of course, was launched as the Opel Corsa in September 1982. And then we got our right-hand drive on badged version, the Vauxhall Nova. I think it arrived around about April 1983. So Nova, I believe, the Vauxhall Nova, I believe, was only badged in the UK like that. Everywhere else it was badged as the Opel Corsa. Later on, of course, we got the Corsa name as well. But like I said, Vauxhall Nova, try not to waffle too much. Let's just zoom in on this main image to begin with. So there we go, the SR spec, or it's just like the warm hatch, I guess, spec Vauxhall Nova. Bit of bright work on the bumper to denote sporty, of course, and then a reasonably high spec Nova in the background as well, the GL version. So we're going to look at the full range of Novas at this time. There were variations, of course, at different years, but this is just the range that you would have been able to purchase at the time in 1985. So let's turn to the first model. Starts a little bit unusually with the... So in this brochure, it's set out a little bit unusually with showing the highest spec model first and then going down the range. So Nova SR was the highest model at this time. Of course, we got more sporty models later, like the GTE, but this is the most sporty of the Novas you could pick up in the UK at this particular time, at least. Do like these images of this one. This sort of yellow and black colour scheme does look relatively nice, actually. I do quite like it. Quite sporty seats as well. I think it's quite a nice spec, actually, the SR. We'll read the notes, we'll come back to these images. It also tells you what sort of standard features you get on there, like a bit of a rear spoiler. But let's read the notes first. It starts by telling us small, fast, sporty cars have a magic all their own. This Nova SR hatch is no exception. The free-revving 1.3 OHC engine develops 70 PS, coupled to a slick 5-speed gearbox, add sheer driving verve to this full 4-seater. With a top speed of over 103 miles per hour and 0 to 60 in 10.6 seconds, which I don't think is too bad for the time. It would feel quite slow today, but remember, it's a small car, so it probably feels faster than it is anyway. It tells us there's a lot of performance to add excitement to the most mundane journey. Clean aerodynamics ensure the Nova SR slices through the air with one of the lowest drag coefficients of any small car. Special front and rear spoilers give the SR a drag coefficient of only 0.34. For hot footing it through country lanes, and the Nova is that sort of car, the combination of McPherson struts at the front and mini block tapered springs at the rear is a suspension system that gives total reassurance. Front and rear anti-roll bars add to the torque feel. Motor said of driving the SR, we liked the Nova SR a lot. It has a combination of performance, handling, economy and civility that make it one of the most appealing, practical, fun cars on the market. Autocar's summary was, in terms of overall competence, there is no doubt that it is one of the toughest competitors of the junior hot hatchback brigade. Tough, yes, but the SR is also comfortably civilised to make this hot hatch a terrific all-rounder. So obviously at this time there was a lot of competition for so-called hot hatchbacks. I think this was more in sort of the warm hatchback territory, but still there was a lot of competition, but overall it seemed like it was well regarded with the motoring press at the time. So for the standard features, we had a sports front seat with headrests, rev counter, voltmeter and oil pressure gauge, 4-spoke sport steering wheel, quartz clock, mono radio stereo cassette player with 4 speakers, split rear seat, 5-speed gearbox, sports steel wheels, low profile tyres, uprated sport suspension, bronze tinted glass, laminated windscreen with graduated tilt sideband, intermittent tailgate wash wipe, spoilers front and rear, halogen headlamps, integral reversing lights, body side protection mouldings, remote control driver's door mirror and a lock-in fuel cap. Tells us this Nova SR is in Jamaica yellow. Alloy wheels are an option at extra cost. The standard steel road wheels is shown in an incidental illustration. So yeah, we get alloy wheels as an optional extra, but that was quite common on this type of car at the time. So here we see a little bit of a look at that spoiler and how it's badged Nova 1.3 SR. Incidentally, for the Opel Corsa there would have been an SR version as well as the top model at this time. Look at the instrumentation, not badly spec really for what it is. Here is a look at the standard steel wheel which you would have got, which actually I quite like the design, so not too bad at all. And then I'm just going to move the camera down manually. It gives you an idea of that split folding rear seat. The interior, I really like the seat design. I like this checkered design. It really suits the car and makes a difference from a lot of sporty cars. They just put grey seats in there, which I really didn't like, so it's nice to see something a little bit different. And then we get the main image there and showing the alloy wheels. We'll notice there isn't actually a passenger. Passenger, sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah, it doesn't show us a passenger door mirror on there, so it looks like we only got a driver's side door mirror. Remembering these are right-hand drive cars. And then I'm just going to move the camera manually. For reasons of, I guess, the 80s, we've got a lady playing tennis. So going down after the SR, the next one down from this would have been the GL. And it's a bit of a reminder that the GL came both as a saloon as a hatch and a hatch. The SR just as a hatch, and it's actually showing the saloon version. 2-door saloon. I'm never a huge fan of saloons at this sort of size, but I think I preferred the hatchback. But still, there were quite a few saloons around actually. So yes, GL, so still reasonably high spec for what it is. We'll look at the description, specifications, come back to the images. I believe for this model actually, In Europe for the Opel Corsa, this would have been the Opel Corsa Bellina spec, I believe. We will also note this has gone from being a 1.3 in the SR to being a 1.2 in this GL trim. It starts by telling us the luxury of a big car with the convenience and economy of a small car, puts the Nova GL saloon and hatch right into perspective. The GL's smart style is enhanced by velour cloth trim, sport steel wheels and tinted glass. Standards of interior equipment are high too and include a Philips AC441 mono radio stereo cassette player with 4 speakers. There's easy performance with the Nova GL's 1.2 LET engine with its advanced features such as hydraulic tappets that never need routine adjustment, an alloy cross-floor cylinder head for maximum efficiency and electronic ignition for maximum reliability. The 1.2 is an LET, which now we find out means low end torque design, which gives the engine great pulling power across a wide span of the rev range. And in addition to punchy performance, it can also deliver some great MPG figures like 57.6 and a steady 56 miles per hour in the government fuel tests. Motorist magazine tester said this Nova has proved to be an extremely efficient hold-all for oddments, shopping or removal trips. My wife praises it particularly in this respect, as well as reckoning it's one of the nicest small cars to drive. So standard features for this high-spec Nova. Velour cloth trim is certainly a nice addition. Cloth trimmed front seat head restraints, 60/40 split rear seat, hatch, mono radio stereo cassette player with 4 speakers, quartz clock, 4-spoke steering wheel, sports instruments, cigar lighter, headlamps on warning buzzer, full door trim with cloth inserts, continental style front door armrests, illumination of glove box, load area and engine compartment. Always nice when they put a light in the engine compartment, I think. We also get intermittent tailgate wash white for the hatch, halogen headlamps, laminated windscreen with graduated tint shade band, bronze tinted glass, heated rear window, remote control driver's door mirror, locking fuel cap and an integral reversing light. So I look at the door mirror and the adjustment for it, but it does look like it's only for the driver, as in we don't get a mirror for the passenger at all. Look at the speakers, the dash, and we're still getting a rev counter on this model as well. So the seats are probably the nicest thing about getting the GL model. Nice velour seats, which is nice to see in a small car. And also, rather than the SR sort of A-frame design, we get sort of proper covered head restraints. And then the car itself, the GL 2-door saloon. Like I say, I'm not a huge fan of the saloon variation. Looks a little bit strangely proportioned, but certainly a lot of people did prefer a boot. Moving down the range still. So here we see it actually going down the range still and then going to the Nova L, which was probably the most popular model actually, but we'll notice the big difference is we've dropped down to a 1 litre engine now. Again, as a saloon or a hatch. Nice it's showing the hatch this time to show you a lower model as a hatchback. So yeah, a very popular model. There would have been the equivalent in Europe for the Corsa as well. The Luxus would have been the equivalent model at the start of the Nova range or introduction spec levels. Again, we'll look at the text. We'll come back to the nice images. So the text is telling us actually you can get as a 1 litre or a 1.2. So apologies there saying it's only a 1 litre, but yeah, you can spec it up to a 1.2 as well. It tells us the Nova L sets a cracking pace with its blend of quality features allied to a highly distinctive individuality. Smart Piper tweed cloth trim and the latest AN232 radio with twin speakers confirm the high standards, so we can see straight away how it's dropped down the trim levels. When the Automobile Association's magazine Drive tested the Nova 1.2L hatch, they concluded the Nova is a startling competitive little car, especially in its 1.2L guise. Where it scores is on that little extra attention to detail, attentions to matters of detail. The seats really are comfortable and the driving position is good for long runs. However, it is the little gem of an engine that really sets the Nova 1.2L apart from the competition. It sets new standards of mechanical refinement among smaller cars. So straight away it's trying to advertise, ignore the 1 litre and pick the 1.2, which I'm sure would have been more fun. The hatch gives 7.9 cubic foot of luggage space under the hinged load cover, lower the 60-40 split rear seats, and the load space increases to 29.8 cubic feet. The Nova L Saloon offers a big 15.2 cubic foot boot, and the 1.2 version earned this compliment from Motor. With its blend of performance, economy, accommodation and low price, it is a competitive package in its own market niche. Just before we move on, the car we're going to look at is the Nova L hatch in Astro Silver. 2-coat metallic paint is an option at extra cost, of course. Now the standard features, we get fully reclined front seats, front seat head restraints, split rear seat on the hatch, hinged load cover hatch, push button radio, quartz clock, centre console, vanity mirror, dipping rear view mirror, front door pockets, laminated windscreen, tailgate wash wipe for the hatch, halogen headlamps, body side protection mouldings, remote control driver's door mirror, locking fuel cap and a reversing light. So we get another image for this one showing someone adjusting the mirror on the driver's side only mirror. Another look at the dash, kind of like shows you that unusual angle of the dash actually, and the steering wheel for the L model. Just moving the camera manually. We can see that split folding rear seat. I quite like the seat colour actually, it livens it up from the normal grey. So the seats are a lower quality and the headrests now are more of that sort of A-frame cheaper design, but still doesn't look a bad place to be for a basic model. And here is your L. Notice again no mirror on the passenger side. What can I say about it? I quite like the wheels actually, even though they're only steel wheels. I do quite like that design actually with the a Vauxhall badge in the centre there. Not too bad. It is nice to see head restraints. The top here we've got a lady walking a dog, a very sort of 80s image again. There is one more model yet though, so let's have a look at that. So this is your base model Nova then, and the 80s wouldn't be the 80s without a stripped out version, would it? But yeah, your super base model. Again, you could have it as a 1.2 though, I'm surprised. So there isn't any models you had to have that 1 litre. So 1 litre or a 1.2 available. Saloon or hatch. There's going to be certainly some features that are missing. I can straight away these sort of the caps are missing on the steel wheels, which make it look really poverty spec. And we don't get that sort of rubber strip going down the side to prevent car part knocks. So no doubt within a year it's going to be full of sort of doors hitting the side of it, etc. Anyway, let's read the specs and let's see how little this model's got. But it does appear to still have head restraints, which is nice. So it tells us Nova front wheel drive hatchbacks and saloons are so well equipped that they relate to much higher price brackets. Large halogen headlamps, grey clip-on thermoplastic bumper covers, laminated windscreen, 2-speed windscreen wipers and intermittent wipe, heated rear window, locking fuel cap, reversing lights and intermittent tailgate wash wipe for the hatchback. Few if any rivals can match Nova value. And amongst many other big car features, there's a powerful dual circuit brake system with front discs and servo assistance to lighten the pedal pressure. In the spacious interior, there's the comfort of smart domino cloth trim, and the reclining front seats are complete with integral head restraints. Importantly, in a small car there's plenty of storage space for a mass of odds and ends, with a full width front parcel shelf and lidded glove box. All fascia controls are logically positioned, and those for the heater are illuminated for extra convenience. There are plenty of luxury touches too, such as fleece carpeting, load area mat and adjustable face level air vents. The Nova hatch and saloon are not short on driver satisfaction either. The lively 1 litre engine with its low end torque, cam profile and Weber carburetor punches these Nova models up to 87 miles per hour, and the economy is another strong point, up to 60.1 mpg at a steady 56 miles per hour on dot figures, with the 5-speed gearbox optional at extra cost. So optional 5-speed gearbox on these particular models, and it looks like it's also promoting you getting the 1 litre for the base model, because if you're getting a base model you probably want to save money by getting just the 1 litre as well. But overall, not too badly equipped for what is a base model. I'm sure Ford would have given you far less on their base model. So we get domino cloth trim, reclining front seats, see-through front head restraints, full width front parcel shelf, carpeted load hatch, a load cover on the hatch, twin sun visors, lidded glove box, adjustable face level air vents, 2-speed windscreen wipers, intermittent wipe, intermittent tailgate wash wipe. Surprised they put the wash wipe actually for the rear on the base model. That's quite nice. Laminated front screen, locking fuel cap, halogen headlamps, hazard warning lights, reversing lights and a heated rear window. So the model we're going to look at is the base model Nova hatch in carnelian red, which is a metallic, so that's going to be an optional extra colour of course. It's also showing one in black as well, which probably would have been an optional extra colour as well, which very unusual to see optional extra colours on base models of course. So here is your base model with all the blanking plugs. We notice no radio, so we're not getting a radio on this base model, and of course no rev counter of course. And then the interior with head restraints, which is nice to see. Head restraints wouldn't have been mandatory at this time, so that's nice to see on a base model in the UK. So yeah, we get a little bit of a look at the saloon base model and then the base model hatch. If we notice though, even though this is the base model, it is the higher engine choice of the 1.2 and it is in metallic, so extra for the larger engine, extra for the colour, so I think that would have been quite an unusual choice really to pick that as your base model. I think if you're going for your base model you might as well get the cheapest you can possibly get. A flat colour and a 1 litre I would imagine would be more common if you're on a budget and you're going for the base model. We noticed that we got these, they really do make a big difference actually, not having the full caps in the centre there, and like I said we don't get that sort of rubbing strip going down the side. So there we go, the Vauxhall Nova in 1985. Next week we'll look at the Astra. And of course by this time we're at the Mark II Astra. We really haven't covered the Mark II Astra very much, so it'll be nice to have a look at that. But certainly share your memories of the Nova. There were lots of Novas. It was a very popular choice actually in the UK. It sold pretty well. So please do share your stories. But thank you so much for watching today. We'll end as we always do by saying, if you've not already done so, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Thought we'd end up with this bit of a motorsport page, little Nova in the corner there amongst many other little models there. That particular Nova, if you are interested, is the Vauxhall Nova Cup for drivers under 25 years old. Is organised to find up and coming rally talent. So that's nice to see. But yes, I got slightly distracted there. The nice little image of the rally and race scene for Vauxhall. But like I say, if you've not already done so, please do consider subscribing. Completely free. I'll add a couple more boxes here as well. For other episodes, I also have one box here which will cover the whole brochure. Obviously at this stage, if you clicked it on the day of release, it will only have the Nova there, but eventually the whole range of cars will be here for 1985 and Vauxhall Opel. You can also now become a member for a very small fee, so if you're interested, please look at that. Thank you very much to the members, they really keep the channel going. But once again, thank you for watching. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon. All the best and goodbye.